what comes to mind right away is that we have majority of the votes are right of center folks. When you take the Likud and Naftali Bennett's party and two ultra-Orthodox parties, but then you add to them a substantial segment of those who voted for Lapid, rightly or wrongly assuming that he is slightly right of center. He expressed his position on Jerusalem, no repartitioning of the city. He expressed his support of retaining the blocks of settlements. When you add up all those votes, you have a definite conclusion. There are more folks on the right than there are at the center, and more folks at the center than are on the left. In fact, the three parties which have been defined as center or left, or center and left, Lapid was the one who almost did not refer to national security peace process issues. He got the most votes. Labor spoke very, very sparsely on these issues. They got slightly less than Lapid. And then Livni spoke only about national security, expressing left of center, and she was slaughtered basically by the constituent. In fact, Lapid got, amazingly enough, 10% of those who voted in Ariel in Samaria. And it seems to me that it expresses a view which is disillusionment with the so-called peace process, or also those who oppose the whole notion of peace process negotiation with Mahmoud Abbas. The other thing which comes to mind is the Arab vote. The Arab vote, interestingly enough, has yielded either 11 or 12 Knesset seats. We don't know yet because we're still waiting for some votes. But either way, the percentage at the Knesset is dramatically lower than the proportion of the Arabs in the population. And what it expresses is the Arab rank and file dissatisfaction with the Arab parties, the feeling that the Arab parties are spending too much time, they're being preoccupied with the Palestinian issue at the expense of Israeli-Arab concerns about education and crime and drugs, employment, infrastructure. Another thing which it reflects is the Israelization process of Israeli Arabs. Israeli Arabs are not reflected through the members of Knesset who are pro-PLO, pro-terrorist, etc. And again, the fact is that those Arab members do not get support of Arab constituents. And by the way, the turnout on election day is substantially lower than the Jewish turnout, but also lower than the turnout by Arabs upon municipal election. That's when they turn out in bigger number. And all that, by the way, in spite of an orchestrated campaign by the Arab League, Arab radios, Arab TV from the neighboring countries, who have been urging Arabs in Israel, go and vote for the Arab parties. And again, it does say something about the successful Arab integration into Israel and the trend again of Israelization. You see it in the pharmacies, you see it in the banks and businesses, in hospitals, doctors, businessmen, artists, etc. More and more Arabs in the scene in Israel who do not partake in anti-Israel activities. Another element, obviously, are the key issues. In the U.S., it's customary to say it's the economy stupid. In Israel, it was customary to assume that it's national security, peace process, war, security threats, etc. That's not the case nowadays, and there's no doubt that the peace process did not play a major role, if at all any role, in this election. It's domestic, and domestic generally the economy, the concern that Israel, which has one of the more stable economies of the world, may be afflicted by the global meltdown. And then obviously the day-to-day concern, affordable housing, the fate, the future of the middle class, most importantly, very important issue of military conscription by everybody, which refers in this case to the ultra-Orthodox, which, by the way, is joining the military in higher numbers, but insufficient yet. And last and not least, as far as key issues, it's the disdain by rank-and-file Israelis, disdain towards the political system. And there's no doubt that it's time to not to change, not to have a patch here and a patch there, but a dramatic overhaul of this dysfunctional, self-destruct political system, which, by the way, was featured by 34 parties campaigning, and 12 parties getting into the Knesset and producing gridlock after gridlock, an unmanageable and highly volatile system, which currently is controlled or typified by mid-sized parties. We don't have a single large party. Likud was slashed brutally. There are mid-sized parties and small parties, which means basically havoc, mismanagement, and trending towards early election after early election. Nothing like the old days where Likud and Labor together had 95 out of 120 20 seats. As far as the big winners and the big losers of this election, obviously the winner is Yair Lapid, who is the head of the slate. There is a future. That's the name of the party, of the slate. Remains to be seen whether it's a one-time phenomena. His late father was a major actor at the Knesset for 2 terms, and then his party dissipated, as have been other parties, as, by the way, has been the fate of Kadima from 28 seats last time to maybe, not final yet, maybe 2 seats now, as has been the case with number of very attractive parties, Dash, Shinui, the Center Party, etc., all of which are all but forgotten. Another winner, obviously, is the Naftali Bennett party, who could reach a 12 seat, right now 11, and if he does that, that's an all-time high of the old national religious party, which is basically the foundation of Naftali Bennett's party. Other winners, generally speaking, are the modern Orthodox. We have an all-time high record of 35 modern Orthodox members of Knesset, and this is again a continuation of modern Orthodox surge into the education system in Israel, military more and more, combat units, special operations, Air Force cadets, more and more modern Orthodox, And so it is in politics. We have an all-time high number of women. 26 out of the 120 are women, and among them, something which is very significant. First time we have a Jewish Ethiopian woman who was born in Ethiopia. Very bright girl who has entered the Knesset. We have all-time high number of settlers beyond the Green Line, 17. By the way, 17 in Gematria is Tov. It's a good number. And for the first time, there are no kibbutzniks at the Knesset. Another sector of among the winners are the youth. This undoubtedly is the election of the youth, the new faces, and that again applies to Lapid's party, to Bennett's party, and probably will be much more powerful next time around. Overall, we have an all-time record of freshman members of Knesset, 57 out of 120. Can you imagine 50 new senators in the Senate, or 217 House members coming through one cycle of election? This is a whole revolution which could change dramatically the face of Israel. As far as losers are concerned, the number one loser has been the Prime Minister, and apparently, while the country as a whole voted consistent with the right of center, more hawkish line, but at the same time, the same people expressed disenchantment with Bibi as the head of Likud, and my assumption is that he has played the key role in the devastating blow to the Likud, losing some 25% of their power. And one can look for different reasons, whether it's the Bar Ilan speech, whether it is the inherent ambiguity, evasiveness, or whatever. It seems to me that Israelis more and more like straight talking rather than the very ineffective, sometimes immoral political ambiguity, which some call, unfortunately, pragmatism. There is no doubt that Bibi will be the prime minister. There is no other option. There is no such thing as a bloc which can stand on his way. However, he probably will be the weakest, or one of the weakest prime ministers ever, constrained drastically by his coalition partners due to the very limited number of Likudniks and his at the Knesset, and his reliance on other parties to be once again to serve once again as Israel's prime minister. Also, one should take everything in perspective, and as much as I consider this term to be a very weak term for the incumbent, we should not forget that in 2009, Likud had only 27 seats. Kadima had more seats, 28. But still, the Prime Minister, Bibi, managed to survive more than three years. So no one should exclude the possibility that, as it happens many times, where it needs to get very, very bad in order to enhance the conditions. And last and not least, as far as this election. This was probably the least ideology-driven election. Ideology was rarely discussed during this election, which may not bode well for our future. At the same time, it was also a very highly personalized election, maybe sometime ego-driven rather than ideology-driven election. And last and not least, we have seen here religious campaigners, religious members of Knesset who are not overly religious, but at the same time secular folks, Lapid's slate and Labour slate, who are not overly secular. And it seems to me that this is increasingly Israel, where left and right have deep roots in Judaism and tradition. Left and right are patriotic. Left and right share collective responsibility. And out of the mainstream, we have some parties who are ultra-left, ultra-right, or ultra-religious. That's about it.